fuck's name is going on up here?
Just once I want to do that.
What the
Sir, we've got a shootout under the ice.
We are witnessing the most aggressive military buildup in Russian history.
Oh my God.
It's a coup.
We rescue the Russian president.
We need eyes and ears on the ground.
Captain, waiting your orders.
Fire!
Hey everybody, welcome to another installment of Film Flashback. It's your old pals Nik and Matthew, and today we are joined by Adam McCabe from the Horny for Horror podcast. In honor of Gary Oldman's new film, we are flashing back to 1992's Bram Stoker's Dracula. It was a zoetrope film, right?
It was, yeah,
So-
meant to save that company.
I saw it once when I was in college. And when I saw, the first time that is, and I'd say this was a good example of me having to mature as somebody who watches movies. You know,
And I mean, when you're in your 20s, you're not, like, early 20s, you're not thinking about lighting. It's like how a scene is lit.
Yeah.
The over the head shot of them with the cape walking in the hallway is like the way the light played, or his use of shadows in it, where it's like everyone's shadow moves differently than.
Yeah.
And Francis Ford Coppola wanted to do, he wanted to use put all the budget towards costuming, so he wanted to do minimalist sets with just rad lighting, where the costumes were the set pieces. And the studio goes, absolutely not. You have to have sets, you have to have locations.
But I actually thought it was cool the way they'd had like the classic take on all the effects. A lot of practical effects, very minimal, if any, CGI at all. Anything you can do practically, it's just 10 times better. It just has a better feel for it. Even though we've obviously come a long way at CGI, it just grounds it more in reality if there's actual...
My favorite trivia for this is there's a scene where Harker's shaving, and Gary Oldman licks the blood off the blade famously. He was drunk when they shot that, and he like went over the top with it, and that's the take you see in the movie, is him like almost like orgasming while he licks it.
Yeah.
But Coppola built that set for the walls to move in, so that as they shot it, they felt claustrophobic, and every shot got closer.
I tell you what, they better not kill his dog, or they're all
Everybody wanted in on this movie. You were talking about how Liam Neeson was the original person who was maybe thinking he was about to play, or maybe even cast as Van Helsing.
Yeah. I don't know about last minute, but definitely like as soon as Sir Anthony Hopkins is like, I'm interested, they cut Neeson.
And Anthony Hopkins eats people, so he's a guy you take seriously.
But meanwhile, 1992 level Keanu Reeves, he's in the movie for sure.
They wanted someone very, like a heartthrob for Harker. And he admits, like, he gave a bad performance. He's a good guy. Like, in real life, he's a great human being. But every line of dialogue is very funny.
He couldn't get... He obviously couldn't get the accent right. So this, and look, accents are hard. I'm not going to pretend like they're not hard.
I just don't get why they didn't just make Harker American.
He just kind of landed in the middle. Like neutral accent man.
If I may inquire, what in fact happened to Mr. Renfield in Transylvania?
Dracula's ugly. And that's different, even though the movie is highly sexualized and that's all in there. What could be more terrifying? That doesn't even look like a person when he's got the...
His cape alone is scary.
Pink Floyd's
like
mother
30 feet long.
like hairdo going.
Yeah.
You think he walks into the fabric store and they're just like, cha-ching! Like, that cape is drags across the entire floor. I don't think any cape is really practical unless it's like a magic cape.
Do you remember
like
when you
capes
saw
a
him?
lot. I sincerely wish they'd come back, because I've started doing my coat over my shoulder.
Oh, okay.
I wish it would make a comeback, personally.
And you've also started wearing those sunglasses, but you wear them below your eyes, so you're looking over the top of them all the time. So
so I could tip them at Babe when I'm at Venice Beach playing volleyball.
You know this movie...
Oh no, the cleavage monster!
I think I'd be fine being a vampire. I mean, he has 3 wives, all hot wives. You live forever. It sounds pretty badass.
Do you want to be a vampire? Question. Do I get to sleep with Monica Bellucci?
Probably.
I'm in.
I'm just saying, if I have a vampire came up to me and is like, hey man, nothing that I've seen in movies has led me to believe that for any reason I should say no. I'm a hard yes.
Do you want to talk about that serious?
Yeah.
Because you'd have to watch your whole family die. Everyone you ever loved or cared about would die in front of you.
Yep, that is a curveball.
The whole book Dracula, just like Frankenstein, is through letters. It's an epistolary novel.
Yeah.
So it's the back and forth. I loved the VO. And like journals being projected on faces as it went.
Yeah.
Like it just made the story
maps,
flow
too.
so well.
Yeah.
Dracula in this story is, I'd say, way more humanized. His love story is kind of takes over the whole story, the whole film. Like, who really even cares about these other two love stories that we have compared to his?
Compared to his, which is centuries. He lost his love, and out of that loss of love comes hate, condemns God.
It's incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I recall now the opening the more we talk about it. And one thing with this, you do, even though he's this grotesque, most of the movie, this grotesque, human killing, vicious beast, you kind of sympathize with him, I think.
This letter I received is it's so cold. It's so unnatural. It's not like him at all.
Still got that time. It just says, "Are you still up?"
This movie, probably as well as any other sort of retelling of the vampire monster story, goes into the sexuality of it all. I wonder what it would have been like on the set to try to push your actors as far as they were clearly pushed.
Francis Ford Coppola, even though the actors had all signed nudity waivers, he was uncomfortable asking them to take their clothes off, so he asked Roman Coppola to do it, who he hired to be the visual effects director, his son. And he goes, "No way. I'm not going to go talk to him." So everyone on set talked about it, and they decided on a crew guy to go tell them they had to take their clothes off.
Mary killed different Gary Oldmans in this movie.
Marry him pre-Dracula. That sexy red leather armor that looks like muscle, like body muscle.
Ooh. Yeah.
I'd like Wolf Dracula, who we like her on that grave.
Right, and
he's like, guarantee you.
To see me.
Yeah, you're never gonna nut harder than if Wolf Dracula fucks you. And then kill when he's like gross.
The bat,
like
the bat version or the white?
Not
version?
even that. Like the old white where they cut his throat and it sprays out.
I might take the white over the bat. That bat's nasty.
Oof.
Thing looks like a greased up, uncircumcised penis.
Anybody who is interested in seeing Dracula but hasn't seen it yet, go see it now because we're about to ruin the rest of the movie.
Can we talk about Keanu Reeves' gray hair?
Yeah. Well, he goes nuts because those three vampires were feeding off of him.
Oh, yeah.
So it was like the horror of that paired with the strain on his body of them constantly feeding.
He
on
keeps
him.
aging, more and more. But he doesn't go. But he doesn't have to succumb the way that some of the female characters have literally been turned into vampires.
Yeah, I mean, it's a misogynistic story.
Do you think
it's
so?
It's women being used as objects to further his own. Yeah,
I
know
it's like
that's the only way to get the men to do anything is to take their property or whatever. It sucks.
What they use a railroad spike to kill several of them.
God, it's so great. that whole crypt scene with Lucy.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Amazing.
Yeah.
That kid was terrified of her in that makeup, so they did a shot, and the kid was like, freaking out, and then like, we gotta get another shot. We have to get one more, and so the kid was like, So they had Lucy, the actress playing Lucy, and Francis Ford Coppola like whisper and like, hey, it's okay, look, and like God. Had her joke in makeup to be like, one more, and they get it, and the kid's terrified again. Yeah. They like trick that kid into one more. It's okay, look, I'm fine.
That's not the only use of a child in it either. You talk about taboos, because when the Keanu Reeves character, he's on the bed, it's this really iconic scene with like the super sexy vampires coming
getting his DS.
And then on some kind of Gary Oldman shows up and he whips out a baby and gives it to
and it drives Harker mad. He starts screaming and loses his mind. I mean, that's again a reason I feel like he doesn't deserve redemption.
Even my mind, I was impotent with fear.
Yeah, I bet you were.
So when you watch a movie like this, do you compare it to other Dracula iterations? Do you compare it to other monster movies?
Man, when you say Dracula, you cannot like say Dracula without thinking of like the Laemmle Universal Bela Lugosi. So you have that. So when I watch it, I do think about that, but I don't compare it, because there's so many like Christopher Lee vamp Draculas. There's like Dracula being goofy. It's like all these different versions. So I do look at this as its own.
Blackula.
There's Blackula.
Of course.
I would watch my colonial tongue if I were you.
His final incarnation as the like 12-foot tall bat just made me go, this is why you watch movies. This is why you watch movies.
It was great. It's a movie. That's such a good way to put this.
I think the fun part of that too, yeah, I agree 100%. You know immediately you're watching a movie and it's just, okay, cool, this is a movie. So I accept whatever Dracula does, whatever these crazy things are going to happen, I'm watching a movie. You never forget at any moment that it's supposed to be real.
I would love to have make a movie as 1/10 as good as this.
Yeah.
Where it's like, it's a great film.
Yeah. Any final thoughts, Nick?
I would probably still consider being a vampire.
Okay.
That's the Bellucci
Let's leave
factor.
that open.
It's
Yeah.
the Bellucci factor.
Yeah.
So for myself, Matthew, and for Nick, and for Horny for Horror's own Adam McCabe, this has been Film Flashback. We'll catch you next time.
Because I fought for you and you did nothing for me, I'm going to use my entire eternity to curse you and anyone who follows you.